Om Shri Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
I offer my most humble salutations at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Respected elders, brothers and sisters of Sai family. So today, I'm fortunate also that my brother happened to visit US for his business meetings. It so happened that we both are together for the first time ever for a Sai alumni meet. So today when we were asked to speak, and thanks to the organizer, he said, both of you should speak. So I said, elder brother should speak. He's got more experience, more wisdom from Swami, so he should speak. But they've insisted that both of us should speak. So the problem starts after that. Because both my parents' side, that is my father's side and the mother's side, they have been devotees for the last 5 generations on both the sides. Swami has performed their wedding as well. So then are the fighters who will speak and who will take whose side. Do I take the mother's side and he takes the father's side? Because both of them have got tons and tons of experiences. So we finally negotiated and finalized just a while ago that I will be on the mother's side and he'll be on the father's side. So with that, let me get started. See, when we talk about Swami's experiences, I think very well said by our brother, these are the experiences, they're not stories, right? It's called an experience for a reason, right? I think you must have heard about Sundar Iyer. Swami asked Sundar Iyer, explain who is God. Then he did attempt to say he is omnipresent, omniscient, and blah, blah, whatever. Swami asked him to close his eyes and then answer the question. So when Sundar Iyer closed his eyes, and then the only word that came out from him is wow. The wow can come from your mouth only when you experience it, right? So that is Swami, right? In a simple word of how to say what is an experience. So with that, what I'm going to share is some of these, again, with the limitation of time. We'll just give you a very quick, some of the quick experiences that my parents have had and we have had being in Swami's family. So it's been, my grandparents were devotees from 1949 onwards. So I believe it so happened that my mother, who was then hardly about a 10-year-old girl, had developed some problem with her nails. And this was in a remotest village in Andhra where there were no even trains and buses. They had to go by bullock carts to even go to the closest town. So that's when that they're wondering, what do we do? And they've gone to the doctors and nobody had any solution for them. So that's when somebody told them that there is a place called Madras then, which is now called Chennai, that there is somebody that they should visit, a doctor. And they did make an attempt. It took them 3-4 days to get there. But nothing could happen there. Nobody had a solution for it, no medicine for it. But the only medicine that they got to hear is the word of Sai Baba. And that medicine of Sai Baba, they then wondered how to get to Puttaparthi, right? And in those days of 1949, it took several attempts to go there, number one, and also it wasn't that easy as it is today. So finally they made it. They reached Puttaparthi. The moment they reached Parthi, and Swami, he was a small boy in teens, and he immediately told them, hey, Subbarao is my grandfather's name. He said, hey, Subbarao, I've been waiting for you for ages. And he said the word of Atma Sambandham. It is a relationship with Atmas. It's just not a normal relationship. So my grandfather was astonished, I believe, and then they went to Swami and into the interview room. It was a small room then. Then Swami immediately created vibhuti and put it to my mother's hands. And he said, I exactly know why you have come here. Okay, then the moment he put that, within a week that they were there, she could see nails, the fresh nails coming in. So that was the first ever experience. Swami calls them visiting cards or business cards. That was the first business card that they have got, which got them tied in to say he is no other than the God himself. because she was suffering for several months with no solution. Right? So that was the starting point. Then on, as they were visiting Swami's Puttaparthi quite often, every year, at least 2-3 times, and stay for a month, which had become a routine. One such years, Swami was traveling in Andhra Pradesh, the state, and he was in the West Godavari. Then he happened to come home to see my parents, my grandparents, and that's when Swami had told them, if you were to, like my grandfather was asking, because they had no place for Swami to sleep, and Swami actually slept on a veranda along with my grandfather, and all the ladies and children slept inside the house. So my grandfather really apologized to Swami and said, Swami, I want to build a house, and we would want you to come every year. And Swami agreed. So that's when they have constructed a house. It was inaugurated by Swami, which also was another big story, but in the limitation of time, I will just leave it with that. So that house where Swami, as he promised, visited every year after year, and there were several things that had happened. So including to the ones that when we were doing bhajans as well, so there was a knock on the door while the bhajans were happening, and when they opened the doors, there was none. And this had happened multiple times. And when we went to Puttaparthi, then Swami said, Dunapotas, when you call me, why do you close the door? Then why do you call me at all if you want to close your doors? So now may I request the door to be open, please? Thank you. So always when we pray, when we do any worship, and when you want God to come in, it's not only the physical door, it is our door as well that we have to keep it open. That's a simple, clear message that Swami gives in everything that he does. Every word that he says, there's a deep, deep meaning in it. So, may I allow?
In 1954, when my grandfather, my father's father, happened to visit Puttaparthi, which was a very small place that time, my grandfather had a problem of diabetes right from that time. He was suffering quite some, and there was only one tablet that he has to take every day. In his 4 days, they planned a trip for 4 days, but Swami asked them to stay back, and my grandfather had only one issue with the tablet, so he went and asked Swami, Swami, I have this diabetes tablet to be taken every day, and I have to leave. Now this 4th day done, 5th day I have to go back to my place so that I can buy new tablets or use the tablets at home. Swami said, what happened? I am with diabetes, Swami. I have been suffering for many years. Swami asked a local doctor there, Dr. Sitaramaya in Puttaparthi, to come and inspect and check his sugar levels. Sugar levels were quite high. Then Swami said, don't worry, I will give you the tablets. He created the tablet bottle, which was exactly the same what my grandfather has been taking earlier. And that bottle was given to him and said, you take it now, your sugar levels will be controlled. Don't worry, there are 30 tablets in this. So immediately my grandfather took. The next day, Swami asked the same Dr. Sitaramaya to come and again review the patient. The sugar levels were as normal as possible, which is not high, which is not low, and he was very happy. He said, Swami, I can as well stay back, it's not an issue. So another 1 week gone by, Swami warned him to take this tablet every day, and he continued. Very soon they came back and they had a lot of faith in Swami, because Swami rattled out all that story, whatever happened earlier, and said, I know you not this lifetime, but then the lifetime that you had passed through the same avatar. You are not new to me, and I am not new to you, but then the forms, the physical forms change, and you fail to realize that I am with you for so many generations and so many lifetimes. And as time passed by, my grandfather had a business of mica mines. Mica is what do you call, mineral.
It's a mineral.
Yeah, he had the business of mica mines in a town called Nellore in Andhra Pradesh. They were, that was a very prosperous business that they were having. A time had come when the others in the town had an issue with my grandfather in terms of business relations. Somebody complained to the collector over there that he has to stop his business. Collector had issued a notice to stop the business. Business stopped. Around 2,000 families had got affected because of the amount of labor that has to happen there in the mica mines business. There is only one recourse that has to happen. My grandfather went to Swami and said, Swami, this is how I'm having a problem today. What do I do? Swami said, what happened? Swami, it's 2,000 people who are dependent on this business. Their daily labor is getting affected. They are without food and they are really suffering. Swami said, see, at this point in time, you still are considering your people more than yourself. You also are in a situation where your business is not running and you have a problem, but then you're thinking about your people. Swami, then my grandfather said, Swami, 2,000 families without food because they are not having an employment is more a problem for me rather than my own problem. Swami said, don't worry. You are looking at others and I am looking at you. And that is how he said, you don't worry, I'll take care of this. And time passed by when the court had summoned him to address this issue, judicial problems. And Swami said, I will take care of your case. How he took care of the case is very, very astonishing. Swami told my grandfather the future, that what happens in the courtroom on that day. He said, on the morning of that case, you will call your lawyer, that advocate, over phone call and ask him, request him to come to the court. The lawyer will tell me, the lawyer knows that this is anyway a losing proposition. He doesn't want him, the lawyer doesn't want to come to the court at all. So he avoids the call. Swami is telling all this, okay? He avoids the call. You will go alone to the court. There what happens is, the judge will ask for the lawyer in 3 times. They'll shout for the lawyer doesn't appear. So the judge will tell my grandfather, you only argue your case. My grandfather said, no, Swami, that never happens. Generally, the lawyer has to argue the case. Swami said, no. Judge will tell you, in the absence of the lawyer, you only argue the case. My grandfather kept quiet. Okay, Swami is saying. And then he listens to you, the argument that you have on your own case. And the government side, they have their own arguments. And that at one point in time, the judge will keep his 2 fingers on his brow here and starts thinking about the case. All this is Swami is narrating that day's instance before itself. And at that time, you can see what happens. So Swami tells my grandfather. Same thing happens on that day. He calls the lawyer. Lawyer says he will get information that lawyer is not there. So he goes to the court. Exactly the same points what Swami told happening. At that point in time, that when the judge starts keeping his fingers on the brow and starts thinking about the case, the entire thing changes. Till such time, the government lawyer had an upper hand in his argument. But then when the judge opens his eyes and sees and gives the verdict, he says that the collector who actually ordered for the closure of this mines has no jurisdiction on this. It's the mines inspector who's supposed to be doing that. And it appears that this is a case where a partiality has been shown, so I am dismissing the case. And that's how case is dismissed. And the entire business is again flourishing as usual. And it so happens that my grandfather is so happy that he goes back to Puttaparthi. And when my grandfather is coming into the Puttaparthi, mandir, first thing that Swami asks is, what happened to the case? And the very first thing. And then my grandfather says, Swami, you only had done it. Yes, I had done it. I had done it in your favor because you are thinking about others rather than thinking about you. So that is the power of God being with you in terms of difficulties. You don't have to be on anybody's side, but you cannot even depend on yourself when God is there with you and He takes care of you completely.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear that I think one of the key takeaways for all of us, just from that experience, when you keep yourself aside and ask for 2,000 families, and that's when the God will surely take care. Especially Swami, who's the loving mother, he obviously cannot keep quiet. And that's the message that Swami gave him when he came back, to say that the reason I did was for that you are not bothered about yourself, but about 2,000 families, right? So I know we have just 5 more minutes. Could I just, yeah. So here are some of the pictures that I wanted to share with you. This is my mother's side of the family. What you're seeing on the left-hand side, yes, left hand to you, the lady sitting down on the left-hand side is my mother, and right to her is her sister, and that's my grandmother and grandfather, and the middle is great-grandfather. I don't have to tell you who's sitting on the chair, the Lord himself. So this was in 1949 when he had visited our village called Chebrol. So very close to this, I mean, of course, my grandparents were the zamindars in those days, had multiple acres of land, and there's one set of lands which did not have water and it was getting dry. And he actually asked Swami, one of the visits of Swami, and then Swami didn't respond to him. Later on, my grandfather, when he went to Puttaparthi, he did say, Swami, I'm going to drill a bore there for water so that all of these fields could get greener. And Swami said, okay. And he got back home, and they did try and drill, and they went up to about 150 feet, and there was absolutely no drop of water. So he was wondering, and in those days, lots of money as well. So when they went back to Puttaparthi and told Swami, we tried our best, there's not a single drop of water coming in from that field. Then Swami smiled, and Swami created this yellow rice, the akshantalu, that what we call in Telugu. Swami created them and gave it to him and said, now you go and ask them to drill. And they should just go only 16 feet. I don't need 150 feet. Just 16 feet. After they get to 16 feet, let them dig towards the left for another 1 more foot. Then you will see the magic. And they exactly did that. And there was a spring of water. Okay, when Swami said, put these, at the 16th feet, put these rice grains, there's a spring of water coming from there, which sufficed not only for our fields, for the whole of the village, as one of the biggest and largest lakes also. So that's when, for those functions those days, when the first yajna was ever done, when my grandfather asked, Swami, what can I do for you? And Swami said, send 1 truck of rice from our fields. Okay, so whatever Swami does, it's again going back to the people. It's again going back to his devotees, where for every Dashara, the food that is served free is all from those fields, which is Swami's fields. So like this, there are many, many such experiences, including to the, if you can go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So the person you're seeing is my grandfather in our garden in our house. And this is actually to the left of them, which is not in this picture, was a tree, a pomegranate tree. I believe one of the visits of Swami, Swami was sitting in the bedroom, and he was talking to my grandfather and my uncle. Then in a bowl, my grandmother had given him pomegranate seeds. So Swami was eating these seeds. And when he ate the first seed, then Swami immediately said, "Hey, where is this from?" With a surprise on his face. Then my grandmother said, "Swami, this is from our own garden." Then Swami instantly got up and said, "I want to see the tree right now." And Swami came down rushing, and people ran behind him. And when they showed the tree to Swami, Swami immediately went and hugged the tree. And the history to this is, I believe this pomegranate tree is a 16-year-old tree. Every year gives only one fruit for 16 years. And when this had happened, then Swami told them, "None of you are aware the relationship between me and this tree. This tree has waited for me for 16 years in this birth, but it was following me for several births." And then when Swami came back, my grandparents also went to Puttaparthi with Swami, and that tree also breathed its last because it has got its moksha. By the time they came back, it just dried because it got what it wanted. So there is so much of these that happen that which keeps telling us that we think this is our Swami. But there are so many things that Swami, as the students, when we were there, had shown us multiple things, that there are animals, there are trees. Everything is just born, waiting for Swami to see them.
When we talk about grandfather, Swami with grandfather, that's what is there, right? Actually, it's grandfathers. Swami also is my grandfather. How it happens is, a small story here. My father's father is my grandfather, right? When I was talking to you about the diabetes that he has been afflicted early, and Swami gave the tablet, but it didn't end there. Actually, that is the starting point. My grandfather had been suffering with diabetes problem for quite some time. 1961, he had a major problem where his leg has to be amputated because of diabetes. In Chennai, that those days Madras, there was a one nursing home called Pandali Nursing Home in T Nagar. That's where he's been admitted, and in those days, 1961 time. And when doctors said that the leg has to be amputated, there's no other choice. My father and others went to Swami and told him, "Swami, this is what is the doctors advising. What do we do?" And Swami said, "I think that has to be done. There's no choice now." So amputation has been done. After hearing that amputation, that leg is no more with him, my grandfather immediately died. Instantly, he lost his life. Sometime around early hours, he passed away. During the day, I think around 8:30, 9 o'clock, Swami is that time is in Madras. In those days, he was in a house of somebody called Hanmant Rao, and my father went to inform Swami that my grandfather is no more. At that point in time, where there are so many devotees in that house, and my father went and he was trying to inform him, how do I inform? Because Swami is there in that house. How does he reach Swami? He is standing at the gate and waiting for Swami to come out for darshan. And instantly, Swami came out, saw my father at the gate, and ushered him in. When my father came nearby, Swami asked, "What happened? Why are you here?" "Swami, my father is no more. So-and-so person, his name is Babu Naidu, he's no more now." Swami said, No, who said this?" "Swami, early hours he passed away, Swami." No, I am coming to the hospital, we'll go." And he reached the hospital immediately. The time was at about 9:15 when Swami entered the hospital, saw my grandfather in a state where his body was completely changing color. Swami immediately materialized a lot of vibhuti, smeared entire body, and said, "Why did you do for Babu Naidu like this?" And he scolded the doctors and said, he very closely came and patted his chest. "Babu Naidu, get up." He said, your Swami has come, get up. And the corpse opened its eyes and saw everyone, and people were shocked. Doctors are shocked, and the people around were like, what's happening? And he's revived back, and he was able to look, and he asked my grandfather asked Swami, Swami, I am in this condition today. My leg is not there. Swami said, don't worry, I will take care of you. You will be with me. He promised him, you will be with me, don't worry. And he said, you still have a last wish, correct? Tell me what's your wish. Then my grandfather said, I have around 7 children of mine, but 8th child is my father. He is not yet married. Rest all got married. And I want this boy also to be married and be successful in life. Swami said, 8th child is my child. You don't worry, I'll take care of him properly. His name is Ram Babu. I will take care of Ram Babu, don't worry at all. And he took my father's hand and other hand of my grandfather and said, this is my child. Don't worry, I will take care of him. And now you rest in peace, don't worry. And with that assurance, my grandfather was very, very quiet and he slept. After some time, Swami spent some time in the hospital. He created jasmine flowers and gave it to my grandmother. Lot of vibhuti, lot of kumkum he created and also gave it to my grandmother and said, don't worry, Babu Naidu will be with me. You don't worry at all. And then he proclaimed that Babu Naidu's family will not have diabetes from now. And that is the reason why my father, my father's brother, we are 4 brothers, our entire clan absolutely doesn't have any diabetes or sugar complaint till now. We are absolutely fine because of Swami's grace. And that is a boon that happened to our family from then. And prior to that, my great-grandfather's family, they all suffered because of diabetes. My grandfather was the last one to suffer that way. After that, there's no complaint at all. And why I'm saying grandfather, from that time, my father's complete responsibility, Swami took over. Like my grandfather, what is supposed to be doing for my father, Swami has taken over and even performed his marriage at Prashant Nilayam. From that time, Swami became my grandfather.
With the limitation of time, I will just share one of the things as a student that what you'd be experienced in Parthi. In spite of having so many experiences, in spite of enjoying being amidst Swami, we still doubt him. We still crave for materialistic things. So one such occasions when we were in Parthi as students, so there was a solar eclipse. So Swami warned us, all of you should not go out. You should be inside Purnachandra Auditorium. Swami will come. He will take care of you. I will entertain you. I will give you a lot of food. But all these have to be covered. There should not be any sun rays coming into the auditorium. Then we said, fine. But then we also knew there were some guests, some politicians who were coming in. And Swami was going to be busy. We were hoping and praying that we could still see Swami. And we were supposed to be locked in for about 5 hours in Purnachandra Auditorium. And so all the lights were turned on. And our warden has told us, bring your games and keep playing, keep yourself occupied, busy. And we weren't expecting Swami because the politicians had come. Just about 3 hours later, Swami came in. And all the boys stopped playing. They all rushed and they were all surrounding Swami. And Swami was having fun, making fun of students. It was fantastic. We were having a great time. Then Swami looked back and there were some volunteers walking in with boxes. And so obviously either it could be eatables or there could be some gifts. So we all were very happy. Swami said, give to everyone. So everybody were given these gifts. So it was, you may assume this to be a Purnachandra Auditorium with the steps exactly like this. and with the huge curtains. Those of you who have seen can at least think about that. So Swami got down from the stairs, and Swami was looking at all the gifts and said, Swami asked them, hey, did you all see what is in your hands? So we all were, our eyes were on Swami, and so then later on when we looked at ourselves and our gifts, so each one of us were having something in the hand, number one. So Swami said, open the boxes. So people opened, somebody got a toothbrush, somebody got a razor, somebody got a camera, somebody got goggles, so many things. And we just looked at this and looking at Swami, and we were happy with what we got. But Swami said, look at that person. He's got goggles, wow, sunglasses. That guy's got a camera, wow. And so we all were then started comparing each other. And because Swami was so close with us, walking around us, that we immediately said, Swami, when he was with that kind of, like he was like a friend to us, and in that situation, right? So Swami said, you want a camera? Okay, give him the camera, take back the toothbrush. Okay, so he was exchanging, right? And everybody is saying, Swami, I want sunglasses, I want sunglasses. So this went on for 15, 20 minutes. Swami was having fun, all of us were having fun. And Swami was smiling, and Swami climbed up the stairs one by one, one by one, one by one. Then he went to that curtains, and we know he was going, and we all very happy. Swami spent 1 hour with us, so we all were very grateful. We got what we want, and we all were extremely happy. So then Swami opened the curtain, and he looked back and said, are you all happy? He said, Swami, very happy, Swami. Santoshama, Santosham, Swami. Everybody said. He again asked, are you all happy? Swami, very, very happy, Swami. Then Swami opened the curtain a little more. He was going and turned back, and he said, not even one of you said you want Swami. So there is something that we should all think about, right? We all go behind the creation and creation, but we forget the Creator himself. That was a great, great lesson that he taught us just with that small example. Of course, we cried, we did all that. None of us took those gifts back. But however, the lesson that was taught is for the life. So with that, one thing that I think if you want to take away from this great event today is let's all pray and think about the Creator. Then you have the whole world and universe with you. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.